Episode 215, Meat Boy UFC average. And last week, Meat Boy, both of us went 2-4. The Meatlock, however, cashed with ease. If you're not waiting for these recaps and want to go straight to UFC average picks, go to the timestamps in the comments. But nonetheless, Meat Boy, last week was a fun Montreal card. Not our best, but the Mike Malak Meatlock cashed with absolute ease. I want to quickly run through all of them, Meat Boy. Ewan, our boy, we both picked him. Lost a close split decision. Grasso, I thought she might cash as a dog. You were all over. Excuse me. You thought she might cash as a dog. I took Silva. That was one of my few wins. And then it was a controversial decision for Helwani over Aldo. What'd you make of the co-main, though? Because I want to skip straight there. It was the Beast versus the Bullet. You picked Bullet to get it done. She did, kind of with ease, I thought. I was all over the Beast, and that did not work out. So what'd you make of the co-meet? And is Bullet the GOAT woman fighter ever?
Yeah, I think the Bullet is the GOAT. She's been the GOAT, was the GOAT, is the GOAT, gonna always be a GOAT. She looked great. She just showed why she is the champ. She had that one hiccup versus Grasso, but like if you go back and watch, she was beating her to the brim until she let her get her back, and then kind of gave up the fight. It almost seemed like, but she's back at it. She's the GOAT, and who's gonna dismantle her? I really don't know. It's like I guess she'll have to retire, and then it'll be a free for all again, like kind of how Nunes did that. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to make the Zanger come up and fight Bullet, which I think would be the epic clash of all clashes at 125 for sure. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Grasso L. Not to toot Meat Boy's own horn, but you and I both picked Alexa Grasso in that fight, so we were all over that one. But you're right, Bullet's only blemish basically, and you wonder what's next for sure. In the meat event, Meat Boy, it was Bilal Muhammad took on JDM. I thought it was kind of a strange fight. I thought Bilal looked off from the very moment he started walking out to the octagon, all up until the decision was read. And to me, he looked uncomfortable, but was trying to present a level of cockiness that perhaps he hasn't showcased in the past. And he shot zero takedowns essentially until what you said, the fourth round. It was a very strange contest, and he lived up to his word when he said, "I'm going to come out." What he said, "I'm going to box like Floyd Mayweather" or something. It's seemingly what he tried to do, tried to make a statement, ultimately didn't, and lost his belt as a result. What'd you make over JDM versus Bull?
Yeah, no, it's the worst performance I've ever seen Bilal have, besides when he got knocked out by Vicente Luque. But man, it was like he goes, "I'm gonna show everyone I have hands like Canelo,
Canelo.
buddy. Your hands were like Ben Askren." So I don't know. It just you gotta stick to what got you to the championship. And he just didn't. He decided to wait for Jack to get really sweaty, really greasy, and then it became, oh wow, I can't even hold on to him because it's just a bunch of sweat balls and lubed up, men in the cage pretty much. So it was just weird. The fifth and sixth round is like every time he gets him down, he just slides out like a little snack. So I don't know. That was the worst performance I've ever seen. Dumb IQ. He looked off, like you said, but I don't know. It almost seemed like someone made him do that. It just didn't make any sense whatsoever.
Strange fight for sure, and I like your point. You're supposed to dance with the girl you bring, right? And he definitely abandoned everything that essentially earned him the belt in the first place, trying to fight a different sort of fight that wasn't his fight. But nonetheless, he loses the belt. We'll see what's next for him. Either way, Meat Boy, it's UFC average this week. Back to the Apex for some scrappers. You ready to swap us through?
Yeah, let's get into the meatloaf.
Move us through then, because we'll keep the meat lock streak alive this week with a Dink Dog Dink Doink with Dusty Dink. Dustin Stoltz was taking on Nursultan Ruziboev, and Ruziboev we historically like, right? Minus 305, great fighter, trains with body bags and Sean Brady, and had some nice UFC wins to start. Did run into the wall that was Buckley and kind of got dominated in that fight, but he rebounded well against Akan, and now he's fighting this one against our boy Dusty Dink, who I think we've done a complete 180 on at this point, because Dustin Stoltzfus went from meme to legend essentially in a couple fights, and now it's a Dink Dog Dink Loink in this one. Dusty Dink, what do you like about him as a plus 245 dog against Ruzi Boev, against a guy who trains, again, with body bags who you know we love to represent, but it's a Dink Dog in this one. Only 6% of Tapology's rolling with us. What do you like about Stoltzfus over Rosie Boev?
I feel like Rosie Ball really showed his weakness on the ground, And Dink Doink is a pretty nasty wrestler and grappler. So I think he's going to do very good. I like these odds. I like that he's a dog, and he's really come a long way. And I think he's kind of going to expose Rosie Boyle.
Yeah, Dustin Soltzvus on the ground has just looked absolutely dominant of late, and he's going out there, he's ragdolling dudes. His strikes look even better. I mean, he finished the power bar Marc-Andre Barriault, who just got a brutalizing finish a few days ago over Blindado. So it's like, that's a great win for Dusty Dink. He finished your boy Puna Soriano, who I know you maybe at one point suggested could be future champ. We'll have to run that one back, but he's been looking great lately. His only loss was to Bruno the Hulk Ferreira. So in this one, again, as mentioned, Tapology's fading the Meat Boys in this one. They don't like the Dink Dog. How do you think Stoltzfus gets this one done over Ruziboev? Is it a grind him out to close decision, or is he going to finish Nur Sultan?
Yeah, no, I think he will finish. I think he's going to get a sub, in the first or second round, to be honest.
I'm going to go decision ultimately, but either way, it's a meat lock Dink Dog for a reason. We'll be keeping it simple, throwing down an easy 100 to net 245. Get us the 119th meat lock second in a row, and keep this train on the tracks. You ready to swap us through to the prelim headliner?
Yeah, let's get right to the prelim.
Move us there. Jared Flash Gordon is taking on Thiago Moises, and in this fight, if we polled the audience, there's one 36-year-old fighter, there's one 30-year-old fighter, mix and match. I thought that Jared Gordon might be a younger fighter than Moises, but that's not the case in this one, and it's a straight-up pick 'em. Both guys have a ton of UFC experience. Jared Gordon, though, shockingly, is 36, much older than Moises, who is only 30 years old despite having double-digit UFC fights and seemingly have been in the promotion for about a decade now. So in this one, prelim headliner, basically opportunity for both these guys to insert themselves back into interesting conversations. You taking Flash Gordon, or does the younger Thiago Moises get this done?
It's crazy. I think Thiago Moises, I always think of him being like a 40-year-old guy, but he's only 30. So I gotta take the young lad. It feels like he's been in the UFC for decades, but he just hasn't. It's really tripping me out on how young he is. But I think he's gonna get this one done while Gordon is just slightly older.
Yeah, he debuted from Contender Series in 2018, made his first fight in November of that year as well. So time's just flying, me boy. But nonetheless, if you're taking him in this one over Jared Gordon, do you anticipate this likely being a snoozer of a decision? Because Jared Gordon loves to go the distance. Thiago Moises obviously loves to go the distance. Any chance one of these dudes can pick up an elusive finish, or is this thing going 15? You just like Moises to dominate?
Yeah, there's a very, very, very high chance that this is a very snoozer and decision. So yeah, I'm gonna take Moises by decision on this one.
Yeah, I think this also becomes a snoozer of a decision. I'm going to go Jared Gordon by decision, though, Meatball. I think that this fight's going to be close. I think arguably Moises probably should win the decision, but there's going to be some sort of poetic justice for Flash Gordon after what happened against Paddy the Pimblett, where he won that fight basically but lost on the judges' scorecard. So I think the opposite happens in this one. He likely loses to us optically, but ultimately emerges with a split decision. I got Jared Gordon in this one. It's definitely going the distance, though, right? I mean, I can't anticipate either of these guys getting to finish, but you never know. It could be sandwich eating time for one of these dudes for sure. But any last thoughts on this prelim headliner?
No.
Move us through that, meat boy. It's your boy, our boy, Juicy J, Julian Erosa taking on Melky Costa, who is a pretty sizable favorite in this one. And both these dudes are coming in off sweet win streaks. Tapology, though, is loving Melky Costa. And we know that anytime we break down Julian Erosa fight, hopefully Debbie shows up in the comments and lets us know that Juicy's getting this one done. But this is a tough fight against a dude who looks strong. He's very well rounded. He's going out there and essentially beating everyone in this division. So do you like Juicy J to end the hype train that is Milky Costa, or is Milky Costa even going to get this one done over a guy as good as Juicy?
Yeah, man, both these guys are so good, but I gotta take Juicy on this one. Both are on a great three-fight win streak. Both are looking phenomenal. This is both a big moment for both of them, but I think Juicy just has a little more experience. He's had some big wins, some big losses, but he's fought a lot of the best guys. While Casa, he's starting to fight some of the best guys. So I think the experience is gonna get him by on this one for Juicy J.
Yeah, great points. And Juicy J has been looking better than ever, right? He's won three straight first round finishes, and he's going out there and just smoking dudes. I mean, Darren Elkins lasted barely 4 minutes, and that was pretty brutal. He probably could have stopped it after two. So Juicy J is going out there and smoking dudes. I do think Milky Costa is kind of a different level, though. He's young, he's strong. I worry that he's going to be too strong for Juicy J, and unless Juicy can wrap up some slick choke or do something creative as a YOLO on the ground, then I actually see Milky Costa getting this one done, me boy. And I hate to pick against our boy, but I think Milky Costa is pretty good. And seeing how he dominated C Rod as easily, as effortlessly as he did, I just see this dude perhaps cracking into the top 15 at some point. So I'm gonna go Costa. I'm gonna go Costa by finish. I think Juicy J actually gets finished in this one, me boy, but feels kind of blasphemous to say.
It does feel blasphemous, and yeah, I don't know. I think Dabby's gonna be very upset, and yeah, we can't fade the Juice, so I'm right there with you, Debbie. Juice has got this.
Yeah, my bad, Debbie. Hate to pick against Juice, but I'm taking Milk in this one. Swap us through me, boy, because this one is another good one. It's Paul Craig, the Bear Jew, back against the wall. Bear Jew lost three straight fights, and this week said he knows he's fighting for his job. It's the last fight on his deal, and he's got to find a way to get this one done over Rodolfo Bellato. Some call him Rodolfo Balaco, but I don't over here. We don't at Meat Boy MMA because I don't know if he's worthy of a minus 500 tag in this one, Meepo. I mean, Trey Tor has been looking good, right? He's obviously demonstrated a lot of hype, similar to how Vitor Pre-Limo at one point did as well. But I haven't seen enough to justify him as a 5-1 favorite against a back against the wall Bearju, who is a dude with some of the nicest wins in UFC history. I mean, he beat Magomed Ankalaev. He has a lot of phenomenal wins if you just start to scroll up and down his resume. So in this one, is there any life for the Bearju? Again, back against the wall, Bearju, or is Rodolfo Balaco that good and he's sending Paul Craig to go box Jake Paul?
I think Bear Drew's definitely gonna be boxing Jake Paul after this fight. I think Bellato Pilato is going to absolutely decimate him and knock him out first round.
If you're that bullish on Bellato, why? And you think he's that good of a striker? I mean, he's kind of known for the suffocating chokes that he has, but you think he's going to go out there and perhaps put the lights out of Bearju? And if so, what gives you so much confidence? I mean, obviously the guy does have finishes, right? Ihor Potieria got finished in the second round, but if you remember that fight, Potieria was kind of fake winning in the first round and just gassed out, and ultimately Trey Tor landed some YOLOs. So, what do you make of that? And what have you seen that thinks he's gonna knock out the Bear Jew?
You know, like he drew with Jimmy Crute. Jimmy Crute's pretty bad, but so is the Bear Jew. Bear Jew's pretty bad, and I would say Jimmy Crute might have a better chin than Paul Craig. I just think Paul Craig is gonna get knocked out, and if it hits the mat, he's either gonna sub this guy or get knocked out also. So it's kind of, you know, I mean, look at Bear Drew's losses. He's got the most in KO. So if my money's on it, it's either submission Bear Drew wins or Bellato Rodolfo is gonna win by KO. I gotta go with a Bellato on this one.
Yeah, I buy that meatball. I see that it's either KO for Balaco or a YOLO sub for the Bear Jew, and ultimately I'm just gonna go on the other side, and I'm gonna take Bear Jew to find a way to get this one done. I'm not sold on Prelimo. I'm not sold on Balato, and I think that the Bear Jew might find a way to get this one done. But if he goes out there and gets finished in 60 seconds, then perhaps I will become a Trey Tor believer. But until then, I am unconvinced. So I got Paul Craig as a super YOLO plus 380 dog. You're taking Balaco by early finish?
Yeah, early finish easily.
Move us through that, meat boy. It's the meat event. Michael Morales, fat favorite, minus 850, taking on Gilbert Burns, plus 575. And seems like they just keep feeding all these next up and comers to Gilbert Burns. He's really become the de facto gatekeeper, new wonder boy of sorts at 170. And he's taking on another hype beast in Michael Morales. And the Tapology's not close, 86% going with Mike Mo, only 14 going with Gilbert Burns. We could contextualize this thing as much as we wanted to, but we know what this fight's all about, right? Surging hype beast, levels test against a proven OG in Gilbert Burns. So who are you taking? It's a meet in the middle fight. Is Gilbert Burns going to find a way to get this one done as a dog, or is Michael Morales going to justify his minus 850 odds and make easy work of Gilbert Burns?
Yeah, honestly, minus 850 is wild to me, to be honest. That is such an overvaluation. Or maybe this kid is the GOAT. Like, nobody should be at that unless you're Hamza, Islam, Khabib, John Jones, like, Bullet, Nunes. Like, is this kid really the GOAT? I mean, he's fighting Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is a massive level test, no freaking joke. I could see Burns getting this through, but I don't know. Michael's so good to where it's almost hard not to pick against him. But it's like these odds are so crazy. I gotta pick Michael in this one, but I'm probably gonna throw a few steak fries over Burns ways because the odds are so juicy, and I could see an upset. But I gotta pick Michael, probably decision.
It's fair. Great points made, and it's similar to the Bear Jew in that Gilbert Burns too has lost three straight, right? Sean Brady, JDM, and Bilal, but it's like those are all the top five dudes in the division. So it's like, how good is Michael Morales? I know a lot of people think that he is going to be up in that upper echelon, but the kid, I mean, you could still say is slightly unproven, at least when considering the top guys in the division, and he's still very young, only 25. His wins include, if you're unaware, Neil Magny, Jake Matthews, Max Griffin, Trevin Giles, like a lot of those are good wins, but none of them are top five dudes. So it's like, is he ready for this level? How do you think this fight plays out? Because you mentioned it goes decision. Do you see Gilbert Burns winning rounds? Is it going to be fought on the ground? How does this fight materialize? And if you see it going 25 minutes, how so?
Yeah, I think it'll stay on the feet, but if it does to the ground, honestly, I think Michael will be able to just like out cardio, out strength him, and he's good enough, I think, on the wrestling side to not get submitted. If he's not and it hits the mat, I mean, if he doesn't know how to defend, submissions very well from the top, Burns is gonna tap him and break his arm or something, or break his leg real quick. But I don't know. Burns just like basically isn't a grappler anymore. He's a striker. So I don't know. Like, there's really no. Like, I just don't think he's gonna hit the mat at all, to be honest.
Yeah, you bring up good points because I would love to see him try and grapple with Mike Morales. I mean, we know Mike Morales is well rounded; he can do it all, but he's really been dominating dudes on the feet. So to see Gilbert Burns go back to like a Stephen Thompson esque game plan where he just took him down repeatedly, pinned him up against the cage. I don't know if he could do that to Michael Morales, but I hope that's the version we get of him because to me that'll make for an interesting fight. But in this one, I'm gonna roll with you. I'll take Michael Morales, but obviously at minus 850, there's nothing there. I guess we'll be inspecting decision, KO, or submission to see if there's anything to get creative with there. But I think that I'm obviously rooting for Gilbert Burns. I hope he sends Mike Mo back to a different level fighter and isn't quite ready for this level. But we'll see if that's the case because he really has been looking ready for any level at this point too. So, any last thoughts on the meat event, UFC average? We broke down five. What's your record, meat boy?
I think I'm gonna go 3-2 on this one.
3-2 for you. I'll go 3-2 as well, but let's hit the 6% Dusty Dink lock on Dustin Stoltzfus because that'd be kind of a lost art.
Yeah, no, Dusty Dink's definitely cashing 100%.